Hello and welcome to Epicenter Bitcoin, the show which talks about the technologies, projects, and startups driving decentralization and the global cryptocurrency revolution. My name is Sébastien Couture. Today is September 21st, 2014, and thanks so much for joining us on episode 40. So I just got back from about a week-long trip in Paris, and while I was there, I was working out of La Maison du Bitcoin, which is the Bitcoin center situated in the heart of Paris. And while I was there, I took the opportunity to interview the co-founders of La Maison du Bitcoin, Larchevêque and Thomas France, and you'll hear that interview in just a minute. So as you may know, I'm working with the French Bitcoin Association to organize the first Francophone Bitcoin conference in Europe, Euro Bitcoin. It takes place on October 8th. At the very prestigious Bibliothèque Nationale de France, which is the French National Library. So we've got a very interesting lineup of speakers for this event, from philosophers to economists and politicians who will weigh in and give their opinions on Bitcoin, as well as French Bitcoin entrepreneurs. So if you want to get the full agenda, you can do that at eurobitcoin.org, where you can also get your tickets. And we've got a coupon code for 10% off, and that code is Epicenter. So if you want to attend, it's on October 8th at the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, and you can get 10% off with the code Epicenter. So I hope you enjoy my interview with Larchevêque and Thomas France, co-founders of La Maison du Bitcoin. So I'm here in Paris with Larchevêque and Thomas France, who are the founders of La Maison du Bitcoin. Hi guys.
Hi. Hi, Jeff.
Thanks for taking the time to come on the show. So Eric and Thomas founded La Maison du Bitcoin in 2013. So you've been open for...
Right now, in fact, we are open for a few months. We started the project last year, but the grand opening was in May of this year, May 2014. So it's quite a recent operations, but since the few months we have had quite a lot of activity here.
So could you just briefly introduce yourselves?
So I'm Eric Larchevêque. I'm 40 years old. I'm an engineer, and I'm what they call a serial entrepreneur, because I have started my first company in '96, almost 20 years ago. And since that, I've founded maybe 10 companies, startups, usually in the internet and new technology, but also in different areas like real estate, hospitality business in other countries. And I've also been a poker player for 1 year, so I had the opportunity to do quite different things. Since 2011, I'm back in Paris. I've made startups in the price comparator named Mixcloud, which we sold 1 year ago, and we started to work on Bitcoin.
And Thomas?
Yeah, I'm Thomas. I'm 29. I'm also engineer. I did a bit of strategic consulting after school, and then I partnered with Eric on Mixcloud. So as he said, it's an app that we developed back in 2011. We raised some money on that concept when we sold it in 2013 to work out on Bitcoin.
Yeah,
investing the money on Bitcoin. Exactly.
So you both started getting involved in Bitcoin around 2013?
Yeah, quite late actually. 2013, and we were very interested, but we didn't have time to really work on the technology or to invest ourselves because we were very busy on our project. And when we had some time, for us it was sure that we had to do something on Bitcoin. So there was no question asked, and we immediately started to say, okay, now we have time. We also have some money because we sold the company. So what can we do in Bitcoin? And in France, because for personal reasons, we just wanted to stay in the country, not go abroad. And so we started to think and to see how was the ecosystem of the Bitcoin. And actually, in 2013, it was quite empty. There was only a few companies, maybe only one or two, who was operating into the Bitcoin industry. So we thought about it, and we said that maybe the first thing that we had to do around Bitcoin was to make a place where we could speak about Bitcoin, where we could have startups working on Bitcoin, and where we could show a different image of the Bitcoin in the media.
And we'll get to that. Maybe we'll talk about La Maison du Bitcoin afterwards, but I think it'd be interesting to kind of go over the French ecosystem first, because it is quite particular. I mean, I talk to people from all around the world, and I always find that the French Bitcoin ecosystem is quite particular. So could you kind of give me your general thoughts on the French Bitcoin ecosystem as it stands now? What is the state of the French Bitcoin ecosystem, kind of in a broad sense?
Well, in a few words, we could say it's quite empty. Even if I said in 2013 it was almost completely empty, now it's better. There are like a few startups, but if you compare the number of startups working into the Bitcoin ecosystem to the number of startups working even in the mobile payment industry, not related to Bitcoin, then it's almost a total desert. So right now we can say that the community of Bitcoiners, even users, entrepreneurs, finance, it's quite small. It's growing because the first meetups that were like maybe 1 year ago, you had only maybe 5%. And right now in the meetups that we do here or in other places, we can be, let's say, 150. So of course it's better. But we still have a lot of progress to make, and there is, let's say, a big way to boost this ecosystem.
But basically, we can see that there's more and more projects starting on Bitcoins. We organized a hackathon in June of this year, and we were quite surprised to see that there were like something like 60 people on 14 projects. So basically, there's some people willing to do.
We were surprised because we were afraid that no one would show up actually, and 60 developers and a lot of quality of the project were very interesting.
And are any of those projects taking shape now? I mean,
a few, not a lot, but a few, and. As you can see, we have constantly people in the Maison du Bitcoin, and they are developing, coding, and there is really some activity. So it's picking up. Maybe because they know that they can go in place. We'll speak about that later, but co-working, etc. So they feel, let's say, welcome, and they can also discuss other people who share the same passion. So it's also important to find other people if you want to start a project.
Yeah, I mean, I've been here all week, and this is exactly what I like about it. Is you come here and there's people coming in all the time, and some people are coming in to buy bitcoins. And we'll go into the services of the Maison du Bitcoin in a few minutes, but there's people interested in Bitcoin coming here all the time.
Yeah, there is a lot of serendipity about that.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff to do, because in France there's like a big culture of math, strong mathematics skills, cryptographic skills, like smart card industry is very big. So there's some assets that will enable some nice startups to grow out of here. We've got some startup working on fintech, on options and different services for marketplaces. There's some people working on the smart card industry, where it's a typically French know-how that you have, and people will use this know-how to adapt it to the Bitcoin world.
Yeah, there is quite in general a strong startup ecosystem in France, and especially in Paris, and especially in where we are right now. So there is no shortage of ideas, project entrepreneurs, and they just need to start to understand Bitcoin. And the fact to know that there is this place, it's helping the people and developers just to try to understand Bitcoin, etc. So for sure, maybe in the last 6 months there have been between 10 to 15 companies which have been created. Maybe they are not all incorporated because to stay lean and for other reasons they are not really creating the companies, but there are like between 10 and 15 real projects with real teams and real vision and assets. And 6 months ago there was absolutely nothing. So really it's starting to pick up, and also the government stance about Bitcoin is quite positive, and it's also very it can help also people to take this decision to go into Bitcoin, because you can see some support in a way from the law, regulation, etc. So it helps a lot also.
And you spoke about the media image that Bitcoin has in France. And just this morning, I was staying with some friends, and one of the roommates comes out and said, I work on Bitcoin. And he kind of said it in a joking way, but he says, oh yeah, that's the money that you use to buy drugs. And we all hear this kind of nonsense, right? But what is your impression of awareness of Bitcoin in France when you talk to people that come here that are not Bitcoiners, but they're coming to, they see this on the door, this huge Bitcoin sign, like, it's quite visible from the outside. This is a place where people work on Bitcoin projects, and they come in. What do people tell you, or what do people ask you in terms of questions?
But it's true that the general image that you have about Bitcoin is quite negative from what you have in the press, because it's always about a new innovation. You always try to see the bad aspects, and talking about money laundering, buying drugs, scandals, Mt. Gox, all that. So people have this very negative image of Bitcoin. This is changing, though. We had some positive report from the government. We had like all the news about eBay accepting Bitcoin, all that. So there's starting to be a lot of positive press, and well, when people come here, they're like, okay, I heard about Bitcoin, and there's a Maison du Bitcoin. How come there's something like something brick and mortar about Bitcoin? It must be something serious. So they just come in and get a bit of general information, and it's like opening an email back in the 90s, and they're like, okay, I want to try. I missed the email. I want to know how this works. I want to get my first Bitcoins. I want to make my first transaction. I want to save a bit of money in Bitcoin. So it's like people that, well, they just want they've heard something. They've heard that this Maison, and they want to kind of know how it works, get some fun Bitcoin, and get into it.
And we were quite surprised about the type of people who are opening the door. I was really sure that it would be mainly like geeks and Bitcoiners and cryptographers or whatever. And in fact, of course, well, they come a little bit, but most of the people are just total newbies. They are just curious, and they heard about the TV or on the press, because we have had a lot of coverage, and they are curious and they ask questions, and often they stay 1 hour, because when you start to ask questions, you open a door and then you ask more and more questions. And so, yeah, this kind of people is really newcomers to Bitcoin. So it was a very surprising, refreshing aspect. And we have had some very different kind of people. I remember we even had a group of old ladies just coming and asking a lot of questions about Bitcoins. They even bought some Bitcoins, and they stayed like 1 hour asking a lot of stuff.
You mean they had mobile phones which they could buy Bitcoins?
Yeah, some had, but they took, like, for instance, more like paper wallet.
Yeah,
They say, okay, I'm going to buy a gift for my grandson or something like that. And one time we even have quite an old lady. She came and she said, I want to buy Bitcoin. I said, okay. And she wanted to ask for 500 euro. And okay, well, why not? And she asked to have, she had an address. And she came back the next day, and she said, okay, I want to buy for 1,000 euro. And I said, okay, are you sure that you know what you are doing? Why do you want Bitcoin? Is it for your son? And she said, no, I need Bitcoin because I want to buy dark coin. So I was speechless, and okay. So sometimes we have some surprises, like that. Some people you never think would be up to date about altcoins, and they just come here. So yeah, you have to forget everything you know about people and what you would expect.
And I suppose some people also probably come kind of troll you or something like that. They to criticize or to
no,
say,
yeah, of course. Well, not too many, but there are like sometimes some strange people who come and ask questions and say. Sometimes they say, "Why the government let you exist? They are going to let you to get you down."
Say, I don't know how banks are not killing you yet, or something like that. They were like, banks are going to kill you. So there's some trolls, of course.
Yeah, it's some strange people, and but it's okay. It's not so often, and the vast majority of people pushing the doors are just newcomer asking questions and come here in a very positive way.
So I'd like to come back just to kind of the French ecosystem for a few minutes. At a national level, I guess you could say, I'm based in Lille, of course, and there's a small community there. What are your ideas? Do you have any ideas of what the French ecosystem is like? Are there any meetups anywhere else, or is it mostly Paris-centric?
No, there are a lot of activity in the south, in Bordeaux or in Lille, so it's not only in Paris. Of course, maybe there are more companies and projects in Paris because it's just this density of population, but there are a lot of projects which are based in many parts of France, so it's quite distributed, and sometimes, in fact, we just don't know that the people behind the project are French, because, with Bitcoin,
as well,
so it's not always easy to see where it comes from, and you just learn it after, by chance, by asking or meeting some people. So it's quite distributed. It's not only a Paris thing.
I find that a lot of times in my conversations with people, I'll find out after emailing them that they're French. They're just not in France. They're somewhere else. Or I'll find out about this startup that's operating in the south of France, something like that nobody really knew of, or I didn't know that it was French. So you have these little surprises once in a while.
Yeah.
So maybe Thomas, you could tell us about the types of startups that are launching in France. What types of startups are we seeing?
Well, in the Bitcoin space, you've got like this exchange, Premium, that European exchange. There's some other services like wallet services that are launching. There's one here in La Maison Bitcoin launching Yalla.
Electrum,
of course, is French as well. And then you've got like some, so as I told you, there's not that much startup. There's also this master exchange that is trading Bitcoin to Mastercoin and to different altcoins.
It's a French team. They are here in Paris, and sometimes they come here. There is Broker. It's a way to buy stuff over the internet with Bitcoins and with a discount, because other people are going to buy this with their own credit card. So it's worked like a peer-to-peer exchange.
You've got Chronocoin that's selling Bitcoin through the internet with credit card, and you get a physical delivery of a hardware wallet.
And there is this hardware wallet company, BTChip, which launched for a few wallets, and the last one was a multi-signature wallet, green wallet. You have also projects like escrow service, such as Handshake, trying to develop a way to secure all e-commerce exchanges. You have quite a few, 2 or 3 maybe, projects working around finance, trading, market making, these kind of things, or bot trading, algorithm finance.
And there's a little mining community with a project, Beta Rigs.
It's French. You can lease rigs, in fact, to mine the altcoins that you want. So also a French project. So it's quite different. We are almost all the scope of what you can do.
And are there any of those projects that you're particularly interested in or excited in that you can see?
Well, the hardware wallet, I think it's...
there seems to be a lot of hardware wallet, a lot of hardware coming out of France.
Yeah,
like these
because
smart card chips.
Smart cards. This is, let's say, it comes from France, and a lot of talents are engineers. So you will find them mainly in France, so that's why. There is this Chronocoin company, and we like also Handshake, Broker. Well, it's and also the guys from this master exchange. They are very lean, trying to do a lot of stuff, and they are a very small team, and they are always innovating.
Volumes, it's very good, very
secure. So it's a lot of quite interesting projects, and we are just waiting for them to grow. We are seeing new projects coming, companies incorporating, raising some small round of money. So things are moving, not very fast, but things happens, and we see new projects. So it's quite positive.
So let's perhaps move on to, before we go into really La Maison Bitcoin and the types of things that you do here, talk about investment. Traditionally, and this is what I've noticed since I've been here in France for the last little while, is that the French are usually quite conservative about new technology,
yes.
But they do catch up quite fast. Like once it's like, okay, this is good, we're going to go for it, and we'll invest our time and energy in this. Then VCs come in. Then we saw this with e-commerce. We saw this with the internet, where
we were late. But
so,
after we catch up, we finally catch up. Yes.
And quite well, I find. I mean, I saw this particularly with e-commerce in the late 2000s, where there's like a lot of e-commerce happening, and perhaps even more than in other European countries. So, what do you think needs to happen there for that shift? And like, particularly with VCs, for traditional tech VCs, because there are quite a few here, to kind of have that click and say, okay, now this is an ecosystem in which I want to invest and help flourish.
You know, the VC are always looking at each other's, and they are afraid maybe to make a move which will look ridiculous or something like that. So what needs to happen in France for VCs to start investing in Bitcoins is to have a first investment. I mean, someone like a tier 1 VC, French VC, or needs to make a first investment and publicize it and be proud of it and just talk about it, and then it will show the way. Because in France, the VCs, we also have this problem that we do not have so much seed investments in France. It's more like late stage growth, stuff like that. And with Bitcoin, you don't have any growth Bitcoin project. It's only seed or really early stage. So mechanically, it's not helping. So they will have at one time to say, okay, we know that Bitcoin is young. We know that in France there are great projects, but they are all in early stage. We believe in Bitcoin, so we are going to do something. And then it will start. And the fact that European VCs such as Index Ventures start to make some investment in Bitcoin, it's also opened the eyes of the VCs. And we spend actually quite a lot of time with some VCs just trying to explain Bitcoin, why it's important, why they should consider it. And this is the first step of them just looking at projects, etc. So we just need one time, and then other will come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, might be a good time to just mention that the conference which is coming up in a few weeks, and there will be some VCs there.
Yeah.
From Index Ventures, and also VCs that are not really involved in Bitcoin but that are interested in. So perhaps events like this help.
Yes, of course it helps.
Get that ball rolling.
Yeah, because it gives some letter of confidence about Bitcoin. So it shows that there is something really happening with people investing, etc.
So let's perhaps move on to this place where we're at, La Maison du Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Can you tell me how did you get the idea for this project? Like, what was did you think about it together, or was it?
Well, in fact, I think we thought about it independently in the same time, because we were really exploring all the possibilities of doing project in Bitcoin, because it's quite vast. You can do a lot of stuff, different stuff, and. Well, it was all about the French ecosystem. We saw it was really quite inexistent, and there was a huge deficit of image. Bitcoin was evil. So, quite naturally came the idea of making a place. It will give us time to better understand the technology, the ecosystem. It will give a better image of Bitcoin, so it will help in the future. So it was a good first step for us. We had the money to do it because it cost a lot of money, so it would have been strictly impossible to raise money for such a project, so we had to make the investment ourselves. So in fact, we see that as some kind of marketing investment for Bitcoin, and for us, of course, because...
and it was a huge investment. I mean,
Yes, we are talking about... not like a delirious investment, but yes, it's a few €100,000 investment, and so it had to be done with our fund, yes, and yeah, we just said, okay, let's make a place, and we had to choose a name, and we didn't want to have something very tech or techno or. We wanted to have something which would just give some reinsurance about the place. So that's why Maison du Bitcoin, which means House of Bitcoin. And you have a lot of Maison du in France, like about Maison du Vin, Maison du Caviar, etc. So it's something that people understand, and they really say, okay, I understand what this place is about.
Yeah, it doesn't really have that kind of tech startup incubator, like decentralized.
No, because it's too soon. I mean, it's too. We just need to be in phase with the language people are talking, and we want to be mainstream. This place is not only for developers, startups, Bitcoiners. It's also for newcomers, people who want to understand Bitcoin. So that's why we have we wanted to be also a place where you could work on projects, but also where you could access easily to Bitcoin. So we have an exchange, physical exchange counter, and we do also a training, free training, explanation, formation about Bitcoin. So we really want to have a maximum number of persons just understanding about Bitcoin, because it's all about the network effect.
And so what are the kind of medium and long-term goals that you're trying to accomplish with this project?
But basically, it's to continue to have a flagship on Bitcoin, and it's really to be able to continue having a lot of press, a lot of talks, discussion about Bitcoin. We become there's a lot of people coming in to kind of comment what is happening on Bitcoin, and it's a good way to be having a different vision on Bitcoin rather than what you hear in the press. So it's a way to counterbalance all that is said in the press. It's also a way like a flagship where you can again evangelize, talk about Bitcoin, make some online trainings for French people, and also to have ways to buy Bitcoin easily.
And this place, in fact, we have had quite large companies who came and asked about Bitcoin, and they would never have come if this kind of place never existed, because they say, okay, there is this place, it looks good, professional, serious, so in a way Bitcoin must be serious, so okay, maybe I can come and ask, and so this is the starting place, and all the startups who are working on Bitcoin, they can use this place also to see if they need to see people, etc. Then it gives them confidence, and it's always good. So that's why the basic idea is some kind of marketing investment for Bitcoin, and from there, what we want to at the end, in fact, what we want to see is to help to see a giant of Bitcoin emerge, like a French Google Bitcoin or something like that. And this is ultimately the goal of the Maison du Bitcoin. And also having this kind of place where we are seen and people can just come helped us having discussion at regulation level, government level, because they say, okay, we can discuss with some kind of Bitcoin people, they are operating an exchange, how can we see about regulation, we can give them data about how it works in the real life. So it really helped to advance on many subjects.
So you mentioned that this is sort of it is a marketing investment for France and also for Paris, I guess more broadly for France. But you guys have goals of your own.
Yes.
You're not just investing in Bitcoin marketing. You're also investing in a space where you can potentially, incubate Bitcoin projects. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, in fact, we have seen a few projects. We are invested in some. So it's always very early stage. So it's quite a small investment at this time, and we also are developing in-house some projects. So there is all these aspects of, let's say, it's not really incubating because we don't have some kind of program or something like that, but we are a welcoming place for startups. So they want to have a desk, co-working space, etc. So we can help them just work in a lean environment. And also we can help some of them to develop, to give them contact with angels, investors, or any kind of resources. And the last point is that we are also ourselves doing some project of our own. For instance, we have worked on open source BitID protocol, which is the way to connect or identify yourself with your wallet. It's some kind of, let's say, glue for all these applications. So this is a project that we are trying to work on, and also just more classic projects such as the one we have launched a few weeks ago, which name is Coin House, where the idea is just to be able to buy with your Bitcoins on any website by getting a virtual card. You want to go on Fnac, for instance, they don't accept Bitcoin, but you have to pay 20 euros, so you go on Coin House and you buy a payment card of 20 euro, which you are going to pay in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I really like this project. So just to kind of explain how it works, you go on Coin House, you log in, you say I want to buy something that's worth, I don't know, like 120 euros and 17 cents, and it gives you a QR code. You send that amount of Bitcoin. There's obviously a fee associated with that, and then the coin house will generate a credit card number.
Yeah, on the fly. Yes,
it's on the fly, and how many confirmations you wait for? 2-3 confirmations, and then you get the
it can be instant. It depends on the amount, but we do instant confirmation for under 100 euros.
And then you use that credit card to just copy paste it into any website.
Exactly.
I think this is great. Like, this is a really cool service. I used others like Snapcard before, but it takes a bit longer because you have to wait for them to pay for it and everything. But
it's like Snapcard, but you just pay yourself, so you don't have also to think about are they going to order, what happens if I have to return. You are just in fact using a credit card, and it doesn't change the way you are ordering.
And so CoinHouse works in Europe.
It's in Europe on euro currency.
So it's not just in France, and anybody in Europe.
No, in fact, and we have also people from other countries, not even from the US. You want to buy stuff in the European shop, then they can use also our service. So it's quite open. Right now, we are going to stay on the euro currency because obviously we don't have right now access to other currencies. But maybe in the future, the project is getting traction. Why not?
And what are some other kind of projects gravitating around CoinHouse? Because I know that there are other things that are coming in to plug into that to kind of create this whole glue of.
We're also doing this the way to buy, in fact, bitcoins with your credit card. So there are like some difficulties with the KYC and fraud. So right now it's let's say it's reserved to people who are going to do the physical KYC in the Maison Bitcoin. But once they have been validating their account, then they can buy with their credit card from home, for instance.
Basically, we already have our physical exchange here. Come here, 100 euros of Bitcoin, you pay with credit card, it's all done, it's made in a minute, and once you whitelist this credit card, you can buy again and again through the internet.
And how do you protect yourselves against against fraud or chargebacks?
Because someone came here, gave his passport, we can check that he has really this credit card. So we are just whitelisting. So it's not like we cannot scale, but at least we can provide a service where people can buy, let's say, large amounts of bitcoins with their credit card without having to being exposed to large fees or etc.
What is the fee associated to purchasing your Bitcoin with a credit card? See here at the counter, for instance.
It depends of the amount. For small amount, it's from 10% to 6.5%. So depending of the accumulated amounts that you have exchanged so far.
And some people may think that 10% exchange fee is quite high.
Yes, but why do we have people using it? Because there is the convenience of paying with cash, for instance, or credit card. So it's instant. That's why people, when they need bitcoins quickly, there is this service. And of course, the more volume we have, the more we will be able to lower the fee. But for instance, if you go on local bitcoins, it's 10%. So it's not completely out of phase with the market.
And this cash for bitcoins model that you have here, which seems to work, is that something that you're trying to deploy maybe at a larger scale? And because in France you have this large network of tabac shops that also sell phone cards and things like that.
We are exploring a lot of ways to distribute bitcoins in an easy way. Yes, but it's
flower shops. I mean, you have that same kind of model with shipping, right? Where you can have your packages shipped at a flower shop.
Exactly. So the only thing
this is something
that we're looking, but for the moment the equation is quite complicated in terms of cost. All the intermediates. It's not that. We need to find a greater model because so far with some prepaid cards, you get 10% for the retailer, so it doesn't match economically. So we're still thinking that way.
It costs a lot, so we need to find new ways of distribution about that.
And can you tell me about some of the other services that you provide here in the Maison Bitcoin, other than selling bitcoins to people come in for
There's this co-working area where people can either go in downstairs where you can put your proper computer with your screen and all that, and you pay like for €250 a month, and you can have this co-working space. desk. Upstairs, you can also work with your laptop. Come here for the day.
There's 2 co-working spaces. We'll do a little tour afterwards.
Yes.
So there's the co-working space upstairs, which is sort of kind of a temporary co-working
Yeah,
space.
more like come and go.
Come and go, and you pay by the day or perhaps by the week, something like that. And then downstairs is a physical kind of long-term.
Yeah, more like regular offices where you can just put your screen, your tower, or whatever, and you have lockers, and it's like office.
And as well, what we provide here, we have some. Once a month, we try to do like a 101 class on Bitcoin to explain to newcomers what is Bitcoin. Something that we love doing to kind of explain what it is. It takes us like 2 hours, and
is needed.
Yeah, and we also, but it's more for enterprise. We do like training on site about Bitcoins for, let's say, large companies because they want to understand why Bitcoin, why should I care about Bitcoin? And the first thing we say that is not having a strategy for Bitcoin right now. It's like not having a strategy for internet in '94. So they just need to understand Bitcoin, and this is where we can bring service.
We basically had some large e-commerce site. We had some payment processors. We had some banks even coming here to kind of
banks. They want to understand what's going on. So
we made them make some Bitcoin transaction on the ATM. It was quite fun. Show them fundamentals about mining and stuff like that.
No, we have been like some delegation of 30 or 40 bankers coming here like on safari, and they were like, what is that? And with the ATM, and they were like in shock, etc. So no, it was quite funny actually.
And so you also, obviously, we spoke about this, but you host events here. You had the
meetups.
Meetup, and so how many meetups do you have per month?
It's like 1, but as there is other meetups in Paris, maybe it will be there is like every 2 months, so it depends because we are trying not to overlap or making too much meetups in the
How many
same
meetups
time.
in Paris?
Like 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah, 3 already.
And how many people come to the meetups here?
Here there were like 100 to 150 people,
Yeah.
and we tried to have like one guy talking about Bitcoin and one entrepreneur presenting his projects. We had some VCs presenting the Bitcoin ecosystem. There was a guy
Index was here to present their thoughts on Bitcoin.
There was this guy from the tribunal, like the court, Paris Court of Justice, talking about Bitcoin.
It was very, very interesting.
Very interesting. I had a very positive approach to Bitcoin. It was
actually, I think I gave him a standing O. Like when he finished his, I was just so overtook by the fact that this man who works in
is a judge. Yeah,
is a judge. Was quite favorable to Bitcoin and also lucid enough to understand the risks to the existing financial and economic markets.
Yeah, totally. So he was specialized in financial crime, and really he was saying that money laundering in Bitcoin is just a nonsense. It's not that it doesn't exist because it can always exist a little, but it's totally crazy just to focus on that because it's a drop in the ocean. So he was really clear about that, and it was very refreshing because he's quite a guy from the older generation, and he had a very high position in the Paris court system.
Well, unless there's anything you want to add, maybe we can go and
let's take a tour.
Yeah, so people from all over the world, you can come here. We have a lot of people coming from for a week from Toronto. We had some people coming from Asia, from the rest of Europe coming here to work for a week. So feel free to come to La Maison.
Put your bags for a few days here, and you'll be welcome.
That's what I did this week, and it was great. So we're standing right outside La Maison Bitcoin. Can you kind of tell me about this area where we're standing here?
Yeah, well, we are in what we call the Sentier or Silicon Sentier, which is second arrondissement of Paris, which is traditionally a place for startups to develop, because in the late 90s this is the first place where you had access to high-speed internet. So here, in fact, around you have many startups. There is La Numa here, this large building, which is just facing La Maison du Bitcoin.
So this is a co-working space. It's about 5 stories high.
Exactly. Yeah. You have inside. You have some program for startups, a lot of events, etc. So it's quite large. So it really makes sense for us to be here because we are really in the heart of this Paris startup area.
Yeah, and it's quite lively. I mean, it's there's an energy here. Like there's a little cafe across the street. There's people working on their MacBooks.
And historically, it's a place for textile and clothes and all this kind of stuff. So you have always
a lot of textile entrepreneurs that are here. It's a country of
a
street of entrepreneurs. It's really funny, very lively, a lot of things happening.
And so if we turn around, so there's the front facing of la Maison du Bitcoin.
Exactly. And here you've got like a corner. It's like 10 meters large with a big B, La Maison du Bitcoin, so people can see like Bitcoin and they're like, oh my god, what is happening here?
It looks like a bank, really. I mean, it looks like the facade of a bank, really. And so you have the huge B for Bitcoin on the front doors, which most people have probably seen on the pictures online. Let's walk inside.
Yeah.
So tell me about this room here.
Yeah, well, this is the entrance floor. Usually this is where people come and ask questions, so there is always some people here to greet them and help them about, okay, what you want to know about Bitcoin and stuff like that. This is also the place where we held events like this training session or meetups. And right now this is the place where you have a desk. And this is co-working space where you can come by the day or by the week. It's good if you have just only your laptop because you cannot really put stuff for a long time. And you also see like some informal meeting room where you can just stand and discuss, have phone calls. And we also have some kind of glass floor, yeah, which connect to the underfloor,
so
where you can see.
There's about 10 spots here.
Yeah, more or less. We could have more because you can see it's quite a lot of place. But so far, this is what we need, and we're going to adapt depending of the needs. And
so the room is about what 100 meters, square meters?
100 square meters on the first floor.
So it's like maybe 70 square meters
it's
here.
It's quite a large room. With, nice bay windows.
And yeah, a lot of light because it's quite only windows.
And over here, if we walk towards this side, like so, we have some glass floors where we can see what's happening downstairs. So this is kind of a nice feature.
Yeah. And also it sends some light downstairs, which
of course, and probably even cell phone signal.
Yeah. As you can see, we have someone here working.
Nicolas Vaca, which we spoke to in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Want to say hi?
Hi.
Which doing this hardware wallets.
Yes.
Who's developing a smart card hardware wallet?
Yes. So we are developing basically the first smart card designed specifically for Bitcoins, and we have been on sale since last week with a partnership with Green Address to demonstrate that a smart card, even if it doesn't have a screen or buttons or whatever, can be a very nice solution for multi-signature wallets and bring more security to everybody.
And you can buy that at hardwarewallet.com.
Exactly.
Good domain name. Thanks. And so if we walk towards the back of this
here you
large
can
room,
see we have some also looking like a bank stuff, which is the door.
so this is a huge metal door which looks like a bank vault, I guess.
Exactly.
An old bank vault with a big Bitcoin sign on it.
It allows us to close and separate when we have like transactions and stuff if we want to be safe.
So if we
It's the gate to the cold storage.
and so this is sort of a reception area.
Yeah, which is you have a little bit of
Merchandise,
merchandise,
cups and t-shirts.
and you have the ATM, and this is the counter where you do all the physical exchange, where you can actually buy bitcoins, and here you have all the brokering system, and you can also deliver like paper wallets, all the stuff that you need. So every day there are like tens of people coming here buying. Depends of the price. When the price goes down, a lot of people come.
And I see you have an ATM, but it doesn't seem to be functional.
Yes, because in fact this ATM doesn't allow
Any KYC.
It's a Lamasu, and you can just scan passport and we have some requirements where we need to ask for identification even for €1. So it's from €1 we need to ask for identification such as passport, ID, stuff like that.
Okay, well, let's go downstairs.
So here is the workshop with what was the mining area, which now is going down in flames because now it's quite impossible to mine from, let's say, from a normal point of view.
So you were mining script here because there's a lot of graphics cards.
Yeah, we had 60 graphic cards mining script. So and right now we are just selling them. We also have miners, but it's not here because anyway it makes too much noise and too much.
It's not profitable to be mining in the center of Paris.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But here it's you have desk where you can do some hacks, whatever. We have place to try a lot of things.
It's sort of a kind of a workshop area with soldering irons and motherboards and
exactly.
Arduino chips and things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. And then we have a little kitchen area where you can make your coffee.
Yeah, exactly. With restroom stuff.
And then downstairs, and this is the main, I guess, co-working space, permanent co-working space, where we can see upstairs through the ceiling windows here. And there are how many spots here?
Here we have 12 spots. So it's either co-working space or for our own staff also, because we're also developing the project, as I said, and so we have some coders, designers, and they are working here. And we also have this quite large meeting room where we can host meetings and also do some smaller training session. And when we had this weekend of hackathon, everything was packed. We had people, coders everywhere. It was quite nice.
Well, thanks for the interview and thanks for the tour.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks for having me all week.
Yeah,
it was a pleasure.
Very welcome.
I'll definitely be back. And if I could say to anybody who's coming to Paris and who's working on Bitcoin projects, who's interested in Bitcoin, do definitely come by La Maison du Bitcoin. It's at 35 Rue du Caire, Rue du Caire, C-A-I-R-E. It's next to the Réaumur Sébastopol.
Yeah, and Sentier metro. It's the center of Paris, not far from the Halles.
Yeah.
Type it in Google, you will find it.
Yeah, Maison du Bitcoin. It's not too far from la Gare du Nord. You can probably walk here from la Gare du Nord as well.
Yeah.
Take a Velib, take a bike.
It's like a four station from metro. It's not very far.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks. So thanks so much again for listening to episode 40 of Epicenter Bitcoin. I want to thank Eric Larchevêque and Thomas France for taking the time to sit down with me and also for letting me work out of their co-working space last week. Now, if you want to support the show, there are multiple ways you can do that. Firstly, you can leave us a review on iTunes. You can also follow us on Twitter at EpicenterBTC. And finally, please leave us a tip at epicenterbitcoin.com/tips. Now, you may have noticed that we haven't been releasing any content on Thursdays for the last few weeks, but that'll change this week because our regulatory affairs correspondent, Sean Jones, was in London on September 15th and 16th for the Inside Bitcoin's London conference. And so we've got a whole bunch of interviews that she did there and that we'll be releasing as of this week on Thursday. So stay tuned for that. So thanks again for listening, and we'll talk to you next week.